Hello to all our wonderful viewers. It is a lovely Wednesday, and we are back to unpack the latest drama unfolding in Port Charles on our dedicated channel. Let us take a long, hard look at Dante and his current state of mind. Dante is a man who has always prided himself on his protective instincts, a true lawman with a heart of gold. Seeing him issue a stern warning to everyone to exercise extreme caution as the search for Rocco becomes increasingly perilous is both heartbreaking and incredibly true to his nature. He knows the stakes are life and death, but what truly caught my attention was his deeply intimate conversation with Elizabeth. Dante confided in Elizabeth, explicitly stating that if Lulu had just told the truth sooner, this entire nightmare could have been avoided. This is a massive statement. It highlights a fundamental fracture in trust. Elizabeth, bless her heart, stood there as the perfect sounding board. We have watched Elizabeth mature over the decades from a fiery teenager into a wise, compassionate woman who understands the crushing weight of secrets. She knows all too well how a single lie can spiral into a catastrophic disaster. Elizabeth has navigated her own labyrinth of deception over the years, making her the ideal person for Dante to lean on in this dark hour. There is a profound comfort in their shared history. They are both legacy characters who have survived the darkest days of Port Charles. When Dante looks at Elizabeth, he sees a survivor, a mother who would move heaven and earth for her own boys. He trusts her because she does not judge him, she simply listens. This is the kind of long-term storytelling that rewards us veteran fans. We remember the days when Dante first arrived in town, full of righteous anger, and we remember Elizabeth fighting for her place in the world. Seeing them share this quiet, intense moment amidst the chaos of a missing child brings a beautiful, melancholic depth to the current storyline. Dante is terrified, and his frustration with Lulu is entirely justified. He is a father desperately trying to save his son, and the realization that the mother of his child withheld crucial information is a bitter pill to swallow. Meanwhile, we have Lulu completely unraveling in a state of sheer panic. Watching her frantically confide in Laura about her secret trip to find Rocco is a masterclass in anxiety, but it also leaves me incredibly frustrated. Lulu's begging Laura to keep this information strictly confidential, terrified that if the truth gets out, the consequences will be utterly devastating. But let us pause and ask ourselves, since when does a woman of her lineage hide in the shadows when her child is in danger? The Lulu we watched grow up, the girl who inherited her mother's adventurous spirit and her father's stubborn streak, would have marched straight to Dante, grabbed him by the hand, and demanded they tear the world apart together. Instead, the current writers have her cowering, making reckless decisions, and placing an unbearable burden on her mother. It feels like a betrayal of her character integrity. Why reduce a strong, capable woman to a trembling mess of secrets? And then there is Laura. Oh, my heart aches for Laura. As a woman who has endured the unimaginable pain of losing children, of having her loved ones ripped away by maniacal villains, being asked to lie about the whereabouts of her grandson is a cruel position to be put in. Laura is the moral compass of this town. She is the mayor, a grandmother, a matriarch who has spent the last 30 years trying to build a safe, honest life after the tumultuous adventures of her youth. When Lulu begs her to keep this dangerous secret, you can see the conflict etched into every line of Laura's face. She knows that keeping Dante in the dark is fundamentally wrong. She knows that secrets are the poison that destroys families. Yet, the fierce protective instinct of a mother toward her daughter kicks in. Laura is trapped between her duty to the truth and her desperate desire to protect Lulu from the fallout. It is a brilliant, agonizing dilemma, but I cannot help but wish Lulu had never placed this heavy crown of thorns on her mother's head. Shifting gears from the frantic search for Rocco, we must address the absolute mess brewing in the Grand Mansion. Brooklyn is standing on the precipice of a monumental disaster. She is actively considering revealing her darkest secret to Michael, a secret that we all know involves the malicious framing of Willow. Now, if you have been watching this show as long as I have, you know that the women in her family are genetically predisposed to scheming. We loved watching Tracy pull the strings for decades, and Brooklyn has certainly inherited that ruthless, tactical gene. But there is a distinct difference between a clever business maneuver and actively destroying an innocent woman's life. Brooklyn is playing a very dangerous game. Her decision to potentially confide in Michael is utterly baffling. Why on earth would she hand over the ultimate weapon to a man who is currently fueled by bitterness and resentment? Michael is not the sweet, innocent boy he once was. He has grown into a formidable force, heavily influenced by both his father's dark mob mentality and his family's corporate ruthlessness. Right now, Michael harbors a deep, venomous disdain for Willow. If Brooklyn hands him the key to Willow's destruction, what makes her think he will not use it to obliterate everything in his path? Brooklyn is risking her entire marriage to Chase by even contemplating this move. Chase is a man of unwavering principles, a literal Boy Scout who believes in justice and truth. If he discovers that his wife not only framed Willow, but then conspired with Michael to cover it up or manipulate the situation further, their marriage will shatter into a million irreparable pieces. I sit here watching Brooklyn pace the floors, and I want to scream at the television screen. Has she learned nothing from the decades of family history? Secrets in that house never stay buried. As if Brooklyn does not have enough on her plate, in walks Lucy, demanding her pound of flesh. Like, Lucy is a classic, chaotic force of nature. We have loved and hated Lucy since the days she was parading around in her underwear at the nurse's ball. But one thing remains constant. Lucy never does anything for free. She is demanding something of equal value in exchange for her continued silence and assistance in this twisted plot. Knowing Lucy, she is likely gunning for lucrative shares or absolute control over their cosmetics company. This is classic soap opera blackmail, and it is delicious, even if it makes me want to wring Brooklyn's neck for getting involved with her in the first place. Lucy has survived vampires, serial killers, and corporate takeovers. Brooklyn is entirely out of her depth trying to negotiate with a woman who essentially wrote the book on Port Charles' survival. The tension is palpable, and the stakes for Brooklyn's future have never been higher. While Brooklyn is busy digging her own grave, Chase is out in the world making significant career moves. He is on the verge of making a final decision regarding the Chief of Staff position. This potential pivot in his career could change the entire dynamic of his life in Port Charles. Chase has always been defined by his badge, his dedication to the law, and his unyielding moral compass. Stepping into a political or administrative role, especially one connected to the very woman his wife is currently plotting against, creates a web of dramatic irony that is almost too thick to cut. Chase believes he is building a solid, honest future for his family, completely oblivious to the fact that his wife is orchestrating a criminal conspiracy right under his nose. It is the classic, tragic setup. We, the audience, know the train is coming off the tracks, but we are forced to watch Chase smile and plan for a future that is built on a foundation of absolute lies. Finally, we must turn our attention to the dark, brooding cloud that always hovers over Port Charles' Sonny. Sonny is gearing up for an all-out war with Sidwell, and he has made it abundantly clear that he will not stop until he extracts his bloody revenge. For over 30 years, we have watched Sonny justify his violence under the guise of protecting his family. We have seen him wage wars against rival organizations and dangerous enemies, but there is something deeply unsettling about his current vendetta against Sidwell. Sonny is operating with a cold, calculated ruthlessness that leaves no room for collateral damage. He is a man obsessed, and an obsessed Sonny is a dangerous Sonny. He is no longer the romantic anti-hero of the early 2000s. He is a hardened mob boss who views everyone around him as pieces on a chessboard. This brings us to his brilliant, terrifying plan to pull Ava into his orbit. Sonny is strongly considering using Ava as bait to lure Sidwell out of hiding. Let us just take a moment to absorb the sheer audacity of that plan. Sonny and Ava have one of the most toxic, complex, and fascinating histories in the history of daytime television. They share a child, they share a mutual hatred, and they share an undeniable, magnetic pull toward darkness. Ava is a survivor. She is a woman who clawed her way to the top of a local crime family, a woman who has survived fires, falls, and the loss of her beloved daughter. For Sonny to casually decide to dangle her in front of a maniac like Sidwell proves just how ruthless he has become. He knows Ava's strengths, but he also knows exactly how to manipulate her vulnerabilities. Ava is no fool. If Sonny approaches her with this proposition, she will immediately see the strings attached. But Ava's also drawn to power and danger like a moth to a flame. The dynamic between them is electric because they are intellectual equals who fundamentally do not trust each other. Will Ava agree to help Sonny? If she does, she will undoubtedly demand a steep price. Ava does not do favors. She makes transactions. The potential for a massive, explosive confrontation between Sonny, Ava, and Sidwell is the kind of high-stakes drama that reminds me why I fell in love with this genre in the first place. It is a chess match of epic proportions, with human lives hanging in the balance. I just hope Ava is smart enough to guard her own back, because when Sonny is out for blood, he rarely cares who gets caught in the crossfire. As I sit here reflecting on all these intertwining lives, I cannot help but feel a profound sense of gratitude mixed with my daily frustrations. Yes, the writers sometimes make choices that baffle us veteran fans. Yes, I wish Lulu would act more like the strong woman she was born to be, and I wish Brooklyn would stop sabotaging her own happiness. But the fact that I care this deeply, the fact that I can trace these character motivations back 30 years, is a testament to the enduring power of long-term storytelling. We watch because these people feel like our extended family. We scold them, we cry with them, and we eagerly wait for tomorrow to see how they will inevitably try to fix the beautiful messes they have made. Until next time, keep your loved ones close and your secrets fiercely guarded.